My friends, first off, sorry about the little bit lower quality, but I'm recording this straight into a webcam. I'm doing screen capture because I'm going to have to pull up some stuff on my screen to show you. So sorry about a little bit lower quality today, and it's been a while since I've done a video like this. But first of all, I want to say that before I get into it, this is going to be a video that doesn't really bring me a lot of pleasure because I'm going to be criticizing someone that I actually used to really like. And on this channel, I criticize a lot of people. Now, most of these people, they're really bad people, and I let you know that. But then there's other people I criticize with that I mostly like and I think are doing good things, but I'm merely having a disagreement with, just a difference of opinion or something like that. But I want to tell you something before we get into the gist of today's video. I was in the car this morning with my dad, and he was talking about when I was 12 years old, he took me and my brother to a wrestling tournament that was like 1,000 miles away in Illinois, and I've wrestled probably worse at this tournament than any other time in my life. I got beat out twice. I went there, lost 2 matches, didn't even win a match, got beat out. We had to drive all the way home. That's the only time that this has ever happened in my entire life. But my dad was talking about this, and I said, Dad, let's talk about something else. This is unpleasant for me. I don't want to think about this. There's so much better things to dwell on and to think about. I'm even in the State Hall of Fame for wrestling now, so things turned out all right in the long run, and I just don't want to think about this because it's unpleasant. And my dad said to me, unpleasant things are part of life. And I thought about it, and I thought that's very true. As much as we want to not dwell on the things that bring us down and make us feel bad because feeling good is so important, you got to understand that unpleasant things are part of life. And I guess my dad's attitude is just, hey, there's going to be unpleasant things in life. You can't just sweep them under the rug. You can't just ignore them. We got to deal with these unpleasant things. And I thought that's brilliant advice, and that's kind of going to apply to what I talk about today. Now, I'm going to talk about Joel Osteen, the money-making machine Joel Osteen, and I'm going to criticize him. And this kind of is not something that I really want to do because as much as people will laugh at me saying I should have known better, he has actually helped me out in life. He's kind of helped me start my journey of spirituality. Now, I started out listening to him. The first time I heard Joel Osteen speak, I thought, I don't know if what this guy says is true, but I hope it is. And then that I embarked on a long spiritual journey after that. Now, after I started studying Christianity in depth, I started to realize how cherry-picked everything he says is. And he only really wants to focus on certain things, which wouldn't actually be so bad if at his church he had another minister under him giving a message about other important things. But that's not what happens. The minister under him for many years was John Gray. And if you don't know who John Gray is, he's a heavyset black man. He wears very expensive clothes. He likes to preach and sometimes $5,000 sneakers. But he's not talking about the other parts of the gospel. He's giving the same message as Joel Osteen, only it's a even more watered down version of it. Because he's there to appeal to a different demographic. He's there to get the black people interested in their church, Lakewood Church, not the Church of Jesus Christ. What is Lakewood? It's the church that John Osteen started, so the Church of John Osteen, now the church of his son Joel Osteen. But that's what he's there. He's John Gray is Joel Osteen's lackey, or I guess you could say his blackie. And that's what it's about, essentially. But a few weeks ago, I was walking with my wife, and I said, one of the good things about Joel Osteen is that he does stay away from divisive and controversial issues because he does kind of stay in his lane. And I said, sometimes that's a good thing to stay against those if you have a bigger message to get out. So I said that was one of the good things about him. I got to shrink this down now to show you because I decided I should check up on what I said, on what I declared to see if it's actually true. So I went to Joel Osteen's Instagram, you can see here. And what do we have here? He's got the The black square posted that every corporation in America posted, every elitist posted. He's got the Blackout Tuesday black square. And he also has this. Something about our hearts ache for the family of George Floyd. Blah, 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 blah. And then I thought, well, what about his buddy, Joseph Prince? Now, I go to Joseph Prince is not even an American, but he's got the same mindless black square. And he posted the exact same thing. Our love, our prayers are deep. Almost the exact same thing about George Floyd. And this guy's not even an American, this weirdo. This guy that is like a 50-year-old man but goes around trying to look like a 21-year-old fashionista. I've actually been to this weirdo's church in Singapore, but he actually wasn't there because he was at Joel Osteen's church, so they just did a feed of it. And John Gray, the guy I was talking about, this is him. Here's what he's posted. A necessary conversation with Pastor John Gray and Pastor Joel Osteen. I would say that this is about as unnecessary of conversation as you could get. John Gray, the guy that preaches in $5,000 sneakers, the guy that for his current church to attract him, they had to put him up in $1 million house and all this stuff. This is the guy that after he allegedly cheated on his wife, to make it up to her, he bought her a Lamborghini. Imagine pulling up to church and the pastor's wife has a Lamborghini that he bought her, which he says is from his show on Oprah's channel. These people, they always have to stay in the good graces of Oprah because they have to appeal to that wide audience. They always got to get that money coming in. And then in Houston, when the hurricane hits and people need shelter, Joel Osteen will turn them away, which when he did that, I actually was very understanding and defended this guy. So Joel Osteen, this guy, he's pandering on social media, but then I did some further research, and wait, there's more. I found this video. He actually attended BLM protests.
Just give me your overall thoughts on everything that's taking place with you.
Yeah, I came out to support the Floyd family.
This is so important that now he has to take his mask off and risk getting the coronavirus because George Floyd, St. George, was such a good guy, and this is so important that he has to come out and join these violent protests and go out and pander further.
Good to hear. I came out to support the Floyd family, tell them that we love them, that we grieve with them, we care about them, we love them, we stand with our black brothers and sisters. He's talking about how, look at this clown in the background with the skull mask. Black, I don't know something, what his hat says, but we love our black brothers. We stand with the Floyd family. Now, this is a guy that has millions and millions of dollars. He could live in any neighborhood he wants, but he makes sure that that neighborhood is not going to be a black neighborhood. He will pander and he will want them to donate money to his church, but he's sure not going to live amongst black people. God forbid. And it's kind of funny, too, because he says when he does these interviews, they ask him about tithes and getting people to donate to his church, and he says, I never ask people for money. Which, if you watch his sermons, he comes on for like the last 30 minutes and he gives his spiel. And these are very nice messages, of course. That's why I liked it. That's why they appeal to so many people. He comes on and he gives these nice messages, and it's true. He does not ask people to donate to his church. But if you watch the full service before that, he has either John Gray or his wife come and tell people how they need to tithe to their church. Sometimes he has his mother on, sometimes he has his brother on, which his brother is a top surgeon who charges white people tons of money to get a surgery, and then he virtue signals by flying to Africa and doing surgeries on black people for free while charging white people tons of money. So think about that. But anyways, let's watch the rest of this clown's video. That we are all made in the image of God, so we're just here to support him.
All right. Just just message to Houston right now on this march down here to City Hall.
Well, it's an important time in our city. We feel the pain. We're all outraged. But I think we can turn the anger into action. That we can do our part to love one another.
Turn the anger into action. Well, what kind of action? Burning police cars, burning down police stations, looting, destroying statues.
Treat each other with respect and honor.
Treat each other with respect and honor. That's the opposite of what's happening, and he knows that.
Just having action.
Well, I'll say one more thing. I don't believe George's death is going to be in vain. God knows how to take what was meant for harm and somehow bring good out of it. This can be a turning point in our city and our nation, and we can learn to love and accept each other in spite of our differences.
Now, he ends on a nice message. Look at this guy. He does end on a nice message, but he knows it's nonsense. He knows none of this can happen. He's merely there to pander. And like I said, this guy probably has no black friends other than those he can use. John Gray, who's a pawn of him. Oprah Winfrey, he makes sure to stay on her good side. But after looking at his social media, an interesting thing happened too. His daughter's Instagram popped up. What? Here's his daughter's Instagram. She posted the black square like a mindless zombie herself. But she must have, I'm sure, she's in college and stuff. I'm sure that she's very into multiculturalism. I'm sure she has tons of black friends, right? Let's just see who her friends are. Let's see this racially diverse group that she loves so much. What? Where's the diversity in this photo? I thought she loved blacks and other races. This looks like a bunch of white girls to me. This is her group of friends. Gee, it's so diverse. Let's look at her other photos here. Well, gee, I'm not seeing a lot of black people in these photos. You would think, here she is on the ski trip. Are you telling me that there was no black people on the ski trip? She loves to, like a typical young white girl that's very privileged, rich. She wants to let us know that she's one of the good white people, but she sure won't live with black people, and apparently she doesn't even want black people to be her friends. Here's Joel's other kid. There's his son throwing up the devil horns. Not really, that's supposed to be University of Texas Longhorns, but anyways, you can see how hypocritical these people are. And I heard something very interesting lately. It's funny because a lot of the best religious messages that I hear, they actually come from people that are very outside the realm of formal religion, like they're definitely not professional Christians or something like that. But Bob Proctor, who has a channel here on YouTube, which I've recently discovered, he does stuff talking about success. Some of what he covers is the stuff that I cover on this channel. But he was talking about after these riots broke out, he had a video and he said, yes, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. And he left us with something very interesting, saying, much how like Joel Osteen said, we're created in the image of God. Well, Bob Proctor mentioned that, and he said, we're all created in the image of God. The problem is, we try to create God in our image. So I just want to let you know that as much as I kind of don't like doing this, because I actually think that this guy gives a lot of good positive messages that get you to a place, get you to a better state where you're feeling better. And if you're feeling lousy, you're not going to be good at anything, whatever you do, including being a spiritual person, being a Christian. You're not going to be good at it if you're feeling in the dumps and you're feeling lousy. And what's good about him is he gets people to a better state where they can be better at everything they do. There's an old expression, a positive attitude won't make you do anything, but it will make you do everything better than with a negative attitude. Now, I think a positive attitude actually will make you take a lot of action and do things, but the sentiment is beautiful. A positive attitude won't make you do anything, but a positive attitude will make you do everything better than with a negative attitude. So he helps people in terms of that regard, but this just proves like how it's all about money to him. It's all about his celebrity. It's all about what he can get, which is unfortunate that he will jump on the bandwagon for this total hoax. This George Floyd thing is one of the most ridiculous and obvious hoaxes we've ever had in the United States, where every television channel tells you that George Floyd was murdered because he was black, despite zero evidence of any racial motive whatsoever. You would think that the police officers confessed, saying, yes, we want to murder this person just because he's black and we thought we could get away with it. And we go around murdering black people, and that's our MO. You would think that they would have confessed to that. But in actuality, there's zero evidence to that. And a lot of the one thing that this whole thing has taught me is, with this whole issue of the racial unrest, there's so many Christians, especially really vocal, very public Christians. I don't care whether it's Carson Wentz, who's been virtue signaling just as bad on social media. Tim Tebow's been virtue signaling, bragging about how he was born in the Philippines in a non-white country, and he was so happy to be born around non-white people. It just shows you that these Christians, these very public Christians, and most, I don't go around preaching in my day-to-day life to people, and most devout Christians, they really don't do that. They're not preachy people. But these really vocal ones, they're the ones that are most likely to be frauds, because they will drop the Bible shtick. They will drop the Christ stuff in a second. They will drop the Jesus stuff at a drop of a hat as soon as there's something to be gained, or to keep themselves from losing something, to lose their celebrity status, from losing their money. And that's why they're doing it. Like, you have to remember that the Bible says, well, society says, the TV says, it tells people, he can't do all things because he's black. Now that guy, he can do all things because he's white. But what does the Bible say? You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Now, I don't know about you. You can choose who to put your faith in. But as for me, I'm going to put my faith in the Lord. All right. Enjoy the other videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think.